everyone. So 5 minutes of fitness, and today is going to be longer than 5 minutes. This is going to be a modified stretch session. So this is stretching for those of you that find it's difficult to come down onto the floor. Maybe you don't feel your flexibility or your mobility allows you to do that. That lying on your back and waving your leg around in the air seems like a dim and distant dream. As always, we have to start somewhere. So this is just a little modified stretching session. I've got a wee sturdy table that I'm sitting on here at the studio. You, of course, will have a sturdy chair to sit on, or even the sofa for some of them. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so we're going to start with, as we're seated, make sure you can have your feet flat. So you want to be upright, not necessarily leaning against the back of the chair, but you want to be upright and you want your feet flat. So if your feet aren't flat, maybe you're blessed with beautifully lovely little limbs, then you might need to put your feet on something. Find a lower chair, but that's not always possible, or perhaps put your feet onto a nice sturdy box or something. So you do need to have your feet flat. We want you to be comfortable. Okay, shoulders are drawn down, the chin is slightly retracted. We're just going to start with a little bit of a side bend and a rotation. So hands are down. You could touch the edge of the chair if you wanted to. Inhale one arm up, doesn't matter which one. Drop that hip down and just ease over. Now if this arm feels too heavy, just take the hand behind the head. You can bring your head to look up towards your elbow. Don't let your elbow crowd in, but just let yourself go over. You really don't want to lean too heavily on this supporting hand, but it's there for support if you need it. So we're looking to open up through the side edge of the body. Breathing should be easy, no compression of the breath. If you prefer to look down, whatever releases the tension from your neck. And then bring it back to center and release and change sides. So inhale the arm up. Remember, you can fold the arm if you want to, or if it doesn't bother you too much, you can take the arm over. It adds a little bit more weight, so be careful. Just watch that your chest doesn't rotate, that if you were doing this against a wall, your body would be sliding across the wall rather than peeling away from it. And again, watch out for that tension. Keep that same hip as the raised arm. Keep it heavy, nice and nice deep contact down into the chair. And then bring it back to center. Lovely. From here, sit up nice and tall and just take your right hand to your left knee and just take the left hand behind you, sit up and gently rotate. So we're looking for a spiraling in the spine, just an easy spiral. Again, the chin stays drawn in, and you can turn the head a little bit more if you want to. Complete that spiral. You want to get around that neck as well. There really shouldn't be any pressure into the hands, but they are just there for a little bit of support, a little bit of touch contact, that's all. And then bring it back to center. Take a moment, maybe roll the shoulders, and then go to the other side. So hand across, hand behind, sit up nice and tall, without yanking, without pulling. Just let yourself ease through. Chin is in, turn the head as well. So get this complete sensation of spiraling in the spine. And then bring it back to center. Lovely. Okay, bring yourselves up to standing. Just going to turn my table around. We're going to do a little cat stretch. It's a little rounding, arching for the back. So the hands are going to go onto the chair if you're using a chair, or you can do this on the hands and the knees, but as I say, this is modified. So have the knees a little bit bent. Okay, you want the knees a bit bent. And then from here, you're going to just round your spine up to the ceiling, really pull the sacrum, that travel-line shaped bone between the buttocks, really pull that under, lifting the pubic bone up towards you. Soften the chin in, separate the shoulders. You should feel a nice long rounding stretch through the spine. And then as you breathe in, draw the shoulders down, let your tail pop up. Let the front edge of your body open. Be careful of compression in the back of the neck. You don't want to overdo it, but your gaze comes up. The breastbone comes up. And then as you breathe out, curl the tail under again. Get that feeling of shortening the front edge of the body. Keeping those knees softened. Don't need to have the legs straight. Draw the shoulders away from the ears, but let them slide wide. So feel like they're sliding, trying to wrap around the side edge of the body. And then as you breathe in, arch. You can do that a few more times if you want to. It's entirely up to you. Otherwise, just bring yourself all the way up to standing. Okay, so we're going to do a little calf stretch. You might want to use a wall for this, but you can do it freestanding. You're just going to take your leg back, doesn't matter which one, take the leg back, just put the hands on the hips, bend your front knee, try and get your heel directly behind your toe, and you can have your feet a little bit wider for support if you need to, and just bend that front knee, really pushing the back heel down to the floor. So feel like you're trying to push your heel down into a box of sand. So you're bending into the front knee, you're pushing the back heel away. You should feel a little bit of a stretch coming up through the calf. Just do that with the heel behind the toe. There's other options, but we're staying with the basics today. And then stand up. Give it a little shake out and change sides. So 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Remember, you could lean against a wall if you needed to for this. Have your heel, just check, have your heel directly behind the toe, that back heel directly behind the back toe. You can move your front foot further out if you want a bit more support. Bend your front knee, push the back heel down. You might notice a discrepancy. This is very definitely my tighter calf, so I can feel this much more when I do this. You know, and this is a really effective little stretch. Lift, if you can, the back of that knee away. So you're trying to press the back of that knee away, straightening out that leg, and then release. Lovely. Come back to seated. So, a hamstring stretch, the hamstrings at the back of the thigh. It's a difficult stretch to do on the floor if you're really, really inflexible, or you find getting down to the floor difficult to start with. But if you do it from seated, it can feel a lot easier. So, from here, all I'm going to do, shuffle myself forward a bit, okay? I'm going to straighten out one leg, okay? I'm going to flex my foot, so I'm going to pull my toes up towards me, and I'm going to make every effort to sit up tall rather than rounding, okay? So I'm going to sit up nice and tall. Now, for some of you, you're going to feel that in your leg already. That's going to be enough, and that's fine. Otherwise, hands onto the opposite thigh. So we're not trying to twist, we've just brought the hand across the body, sit up nice and tall, and then slightly lean. Now look, I'm not rounding into it, okay? I'm hinging from my hip, and I'm leaning. And that might be what you're looking to do, okay? You might be able to go a little bit further, you may want to come down onto the elbow, perhaps reach one foot towards the toes, whatever, but the point is that you don't round into it. Don't complete your stretch by rounding. So keep that feeling of lengthening through the front and the back edge of the body. And you can hold again that for as long as you like. Nice long stretch. And then lift up nice and tall. Change sides. So you just extend the leg, okay? Sit up tall, get right about the base of that spine. That might be enough. You may find that one side feels tighter than the other. Otherwise, hands onto the thigh, sit up and hinge at the hip. Just hinge at the hip, don't round. And that might be your stretch. You might find that you want to come a little bit further. Maybe you come down to rest onto the elbow. Maybe you want to reach down towards that toe, but again, without rounding that back, so keep that length in the spine. Watch out for the compression in the neck. You don't have to look up, okay? You can look at the area just in front of the foot. So wherever you are, find your stretch, that feeling where it feels like there's a deep, dull and achy pull. If it feels sharp, stabby and pointy, you might want to back off a little. And then sit up and release. So as I say, you might want to hold that a bit longer and gradually move into it. But you could do that sitting of an evening on the edge of the sofa, really, as you could this next stretch. Okay, so Figure 4 stretch. It's a great stretch of stretching around the hips. But again, if you're not comfortable sitting on the floor, then that's really not going to work for you. Even this might be difficult if you're very tight in your hips, but we'll see how we go. So from seated, take one ankle over the opposite knee. You need to make sure your foot is still mobile. Okay. Now some of you will probably be like this. So some of you might find that it's really difficult to even get your leg back. Right. We'll address that in a moment. So just let that leg be naturally placed. We're not trying to force the knee down. We don't want to pull up on the ankle. That might be a stretch for you in the outside of the hip and the thigh and the glute area, that sort of upper thigh glute area. Sit up nice and tall. It might work for you to come forward. You might find that you can come forward. Again, same principles. Keep that long spine. Don't round into it. Okay? Now, what happens if you can't do this? If it's just too much? Okay. So all you do is you extend your leg away, you cross below the ankle. Now, you might want to take a strap around the foot or a belt or a tie, and then you just hinge a little bit to it. Or you take your foot around the shin and then gradually think about trying to lift it up. Eventually you want to come above the knee. So I would start by trying to aim above the knee, even if the leg is straight. And then gradually, you can creep that up. Okay? Watch out for the knee. And then that's all good. So take it down and change sides. So we're going to either cross ankle above the knee. Make sure your ankle's free. Sit up nice and tall. That might be your stretch. Otherwise, lean into it. Watch out for the knee, keep the spine long. Watch out for the compression in the back of the neck. So there's lots and lots of continuous themes as we go through these. If that doesn't work for you, stay there if it does. If that doesn't work for you, straighten the leg. Little hook of the foot around, or a strap or a tie. Or perhaps bringing that knee, that ankle above the knee with the leg straight, and then gradually, as time goes on, being able to just creep it back towards you until you're here, and then you can start moving forward. Okay? So, not all the stretches that we could do by any means, but a little combination of things that hopefully will help you just to stretch out a little bit and make you feel a little bit more free and easy in your movements. Try and do them consistently. Any questions, let me know, and I'll see you tomorrow.